when this country goes to custard, and it will, everything, when you can't get fuel to put in your precious car, and you have to take the bus that doesn't exist anymore because the money isn't there to pay for public transport and public services, when you're struggling to put a decent meal on the table for your kids because the food is either garbage on top of being overpriced or it's just not there, the supermarket shelves are empty, and there's no body in the supermarket to fix it because everything has become automated and order online and it gets delivered to your door by a fucking drone. But the drones don't work. And they start dropping food all over the place. When your kids can't get an education worth spitting on, even though they don't get one worth spitting on now, and they just literally are the useless eaters that the upper echelon call us, and you want to know who's to blame for it? Go into your bathroom and have a look in the mirror. You allowed it to happen. There's always somebody out there that wants to whoop it over you, they want to put it over you, they want to whack it over you, they want to rob you, they want to take your money, they want what's in your account to be in their account, even though they got more than they could ever spend in 2 lifetimes. There's always people out there like that. You are the gullible fools that believed the government was here for you. You are the gullible fools that believe that the so-called law keepers are here for you. No, they're not. You're the gullible fools that believe that our health system was here for you, when nothing could be further from the truth. There's no money in healthy people. A health system that depends on people being sick is not going to have you being healthy. How do you think doctors get their fancy BMWs, fancy cars, fancy boats? It always seems to be like BMWs and stuff, yeah? Pharmaceutical companies give it to them for promoting certain drugs. How many people are aware of the incentives to grow the best poppies in the state or in the country? Brand new Mercedes and money. For opium, for opioids, the pharmaceutical companies greasing the pockets of farmers, dodgy farmers. Isn't it funny how we can't grow a bit of hemp for ourselves, a bit of marijuana for ourselves in the backyard? The farmers can grow it. You can buy it from the chemist, but you can't grow it yourself. Are you aware of the genetic modifications and what they're doing to God's green plant and turning it into the devil's lettuce? If you've got a medicinal marijuana permit, that's not marijuana, mate. That's not marijuana. That's not what pot does. It's not supposed to be that strong. Why do you think I don't smoke it? I used to smoke it a lot. Then hydroponics came to town. That's horrible. It just turns you into a lazy fucking couch potato. Good for nothing. That ain't God's herb. That's the devil's lettuce, mate. Leave it alone. It's bad for you. It's bad for you. It's not the way God intended it. It's not the way nature intended it. However you want to look at it. Everything on this earth, it grows on this earth, has a medicinal value or a poison value. Or both. Don't get me wrong, I do believe that opioids have their place but they are used far too much, in far too strong a dosage. You go to hospital after a bad car accident or some kind of accident and they put you on liquid morphine. Now you're addicted to Oxycontin for the rest of your life. Or, if you've got some real willpower, you do away with that and you become an alcoholic. Which I watched my father do. He spent the best part of a year liquid morphine out of a bag with his little trolley he carried it around with. It changed him from an easygoing bloke with empathy and compassion into a monster. I don't talk to him anymore. I won't let him around my kids. Turned him into an evil man. Sidetrack. That's a bit of sidetrack. But somebody wants me. Don't care. Phone going off. When it's all gone to custard and you can't feed your kids and the guilt starts to sink in that you can't feed your kids, think about the fact that you let it happen. When you're paying out all of your money and forever in and out of court like a yo-yo, because rather than upholding the rule of law, they would rather pervert the course of justice by enforcing legislation. It's not law. Just because a prick with a badge and a gun tells you it's law or that they are the law, they are lying to you. But they believe it. You see, is it a lie? If that's what they honestly believe? Well, yeah, but it's a second-hand lie. It's what they call a liar's liar. If you can get someone to believe the lie so that they tell it as the truth, that's a liar's liar. And the one who invented the lie doesn't have to face the music of it. He doesn't have to cop the brunt in the face, or the people that say you can't do it, that's not the law. You are not the law. They honestly believe that bullshit. It's funny how the people that know this are the people that were naughty boys back in the 70s and 80s. We're the last my generation, we're the last generation that has any people left that actually remember the rule of law. Actually know what is the difference between law and legislation. One is to control society. The other one is for society to control itself. One keeps people downtrodden, legislation. The other one keeps people polite and self-ruling. It keeps people respectable and respected. And they have respect. Especially for their elders. When it's all gone to custard, it's on you, not on me. And that's what makes me feel worse. I have to explain to my kids how you let them down. I have to explain to my kids that you just won't stand up and talk anywhere because you might go off your head. That's an alpha coward. Sorry, but that's an alpha coward. It's a coward's way of saying I don't want to do it because I don't want to get ostracised in my own community. Some people would rather go to jail as an alpha than stand as an individual and be ostracised, be singled out, be called a troublemaker. At least if they go to jail as an alpha, they still get to keep their image of being the tough guy. Among who? Among all the other alphas? That's not an alpha. Sorry. But an alpha is absolutely useless. They're useless. They're useless to society. They're useless to their community. All they are is a problem. A real alpha is nothing but a problem for everyone else, because they stand over everybody. That's not respect. That is not a cohesive way for society to operate. That's fear. That's using people's fear against them. There's a name for those people at school. They're called a bully. So instead of kowtowing to the cowardly bullies, how about standing up for your kids? We are going to suffer like you would not believe in the near future. If you open your eyes and have a look. Actually open your fucking eyes and have a look around. And those of you who are helping to enforce this garbage, you will not be forgiven. You will not be forgiven by anybody. There are people out there with a hell of a lot more violent than me who will not forgive you, and they will hunt you down. Like I said to the officers yesterday, I think you're just reaching. You're doing whatever you can to make me look bad. It doesn't matter. I don't care. So you suspended my firearms licence for the third time based on nothing. Based on absolutely nothing. Other than legislation. Oh, we can do it because legislation allows us to. If we kick him enough times, will he surrender? Nah. No, here's your answer. No. I refuse to acquiesce to your request. Because it is an unlawful request. No man should rule over another man. They should rule along right beside them. With honour, with respect, with compassion and empathy. With real courage and strength. Strength in their convictions, strength in their moral grounds, and their moral standings, on their ethics, on what is right, not what is legal. Like I said to him, I have 3 trades, all working with very volatile chemicals. I think I'd need a rifle if I was a bit cuckoo. All I need is $50 in a hardware store. But I'm not that way inclined. I don't have that broken mentality. I don't have such a broken mentality that I think somebody else is going to do that when they have displayed no thought of doing that. Perhaps that might be you guys deflecting on me, projecting upon me, projecting your own weaknesses. I'm a bit more in control of myself than that. I don't need to bash people to get them to conform. I use reason and common sense to conform with our own self. If you can't persuade people to act right, then there's either something really wrong with that person or there is something wrong with your logic. Because you should never have to force them. Someone that you have to force to act right is somebody who is broken in the first place. Or if you have to force people who are peaceful people, who get along well in their community, if you have to force them to abide by your legislation, perhaps it's a bad legislation. Because I have no enemies. And you do it to an awful lot of people. I've noticed the age demographic of people ending up in court is getting older and older, and the crimes, so-called crimes, are becoming pettier and pettier to the point of patheticism. It's pathetic. And you just wonder why the magistrates are throwing so many things out of court. And you just wonder why we've got a case now of some people getting away with blue murder, because you're just stuffing everything up. How does Stephen Edwards get away with stealing a Winnebago from Hobart and bringing it all the way up to the northwest coast? And they found him living in it. How does that happen? Perhaps you're spending too much time, effort and resources on people like myself who aren't doing anything. We're not doing anything. Perhaps you're spending too much time, money, energy and resources on busting the same handful of dealers over and over and over and over instead of cutting the supply. Do you know the supply that comes through diplomatic immunity channels? Because nobody looks in those shipping containers, do they? They're not allowed. You ever wonder how it gets into the country? Wake up to yourselves. Do you ever stop to think that it might be your bosses creating the crime to keep themselves in their cushy little positions? How do you think Freemasonry works? I know, I have them in my family. I don't have anything to do with them now, I know what they're about. It's about time everyone woke up to themselves, don't you think?